Hi everyone, this is Michael with the general reading for Cancer Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for September 2019. I do hope that this video finds you all well, whether you are a Cancer or someone cross-watching for someone with Cancer placements. All are welcome here. Hello, make yourself at home. Before we go into the actual reading, I do like to start off these videos with an astrological report for those of you who are new to my channel. You can look in the comment section down below. I will invite you guys to post a timestamp for when the actual reading begins for those of you who aren't interested in the astrology, but I do feel like it can be very, very helpful in getting a sense of the overall energy for the collective, as well as figuring out what might be happening when for you, what might be manifesting on a specific day or time, or what themes could be playing out in your lives. I do feel like September is going to be a very, very busy month. We have a lot of aspects and transits. We're in Virgo season. It's definitely back to business in a really big way for a lot of people. And there's a lot of beautiful aspects here. We have, all of these earth signs have different planets in them. Taurus has Uranus. Virgo obviously has the inner planets, the Sun, Mars, Mercury, Venus, and Capricorn has Pluto and Saturn. So we have a lot of trines happening with these earth sign energies. It's bringing a lot of stability and a lot of opportunities for abundance and growth. However, it becomes a bit contradictory when we have a lot of opposing energy as well. We have Neptune in the opposite sign of Virgo in Pisces, which is your fellow water sign. So there is definitely this struggle between our spiritual ideal selves and our physical day-to-day selves. I feel like there's going to be a big disparity between those two things, or this disparity is going to be highlighted, rather. So it's not going to be all comfy cozy, and we do also have Jupiter hanging out in Sagittarius right now, retrograding, and there is going to be a lot of squares with the planets in Virgo between Jupiter and Sagittarius, which can really bring out excessive qualities that aren't so good in Virgo. So there's a lot of criticism, a lot of perfectionism that's holding people back instead of making them go forward and strive to do their best. So if you're feeling like you're having a really hard time moving forward this month, it is honestly kind of an intense month. So if you're feeling very weighed down, you could very well just be struggling with your own perfectionism, or maybe you're afraid of the criticism of other people, or people actually are criticizing you and trying to reduce you in some way. So keep that in mind. That is kind of a theme for this month. Although, with all of the aspects happening between Pluto and Saturn, we are being challenged, and it isn't easy, but if we can overcome these challenges, we are being presented with not only the things we want or the relationships we want, we could get that and then some. We might be getting more than we bargained for. So it is important to persevere. It is important to, have dedication and to seek out resolution in situations that are challenging, because there is the potential for a lot of payoff. That's kind of the beauty of this month. Although I do really feel like September is going to be one of the harder months of this year. Not as bad as July was with all of the retrogrades and the eclipses. I feel like that was kind of stirring up a lot of energy. But I do feel like this month is still going to be quite challenging in its own way. But again, there's a lot of potential for growth and beauty. For the big event, we do have Saturn going direct in your opposite sign of Capricorn. So all of these aspects are also in your 7th house, in your relationships. There could be some challenges there, especially towards the end of the month as we're getting into Libra season. There's going to be some squares as well. But I feel like this has kind of been a theme for you, Cancer. There's been it's been a hard year for you guys. I'm going to be honest. It's been a hard year for my Capricorns, I know that, but because it's your opposite sign, you're also feeling that in your own life as well. You're feeling a lot of transformation, a lot of shift, a lot of trials that you're going through, and it might be making you crazy at this point, but I feel like with Saturn going direct, whatever has been holding you down or weighing or placing a weight over your shoulders. I do feel like that is going to be lifting, especially if you've noticed that since the end of April. I believe it was April 29th when Saturn first went retrograde. And it's not going to be instantaneous. There is the post-shadow station as well. So there are phases to these retrograde cycles, but I do feel like that is lessening. And you are going to be going forward. If you are in a relationship and you've been experiencing a lot of challenges, or you're in some sort of romantic connection with someone that has been very tested, I do feel like you're now going to be able to go forward on September 18th and past that as well. But again, not easy energy. And we do also have a full moon in Pisces, another water sign, on September 14th, which is actually my birthday. We have a new moon in Libra on September, I want to say it's the 30th, could also be the 29th. I could be wrong there. I do actually have an astrological blog post down below for those of you who are interested in actually seeing all the dates and the dates of all the aspects and transits. Those are all listed down below. I do feel like with this full moon, it's definitely going to be a lot about letting go of I almost feel like falsehoods, dreams, things that, almost deceptions, the if only that we have had in our lives. I feel like it's a good time to let that go, maybe even make a ritual out of it. And with the new moon in Libra, it is actually a really powerful time to manifest a partnership for those of you who are single, or those of you who want to see an improvement in your relationship. Libra does rule over relationships as well. But I feel like overall, September is really going to be about getting back to the grind. It's really going to be a month of perseverance, of really rising above. And if you're able to do that, you will see some rewards in your life. I think that's pretty much it for the astrology report. I don't want to go too much more into depth. I've had a video that was already over 40 minutes, so I'm trying to keep these shorter. I am going to start pulling some cards for you. Before we actually go into the reading, I would just like to disclaim that these are general messages, meaning they are not going to apply to all of you, and not all of these messages are going to be applicable to your life. It is up to your own discernment and intuition to figure out what guidance you should take and what you should leave behind for someone else. If this does not resonate, or you would like further clarity, you are welcome to look at your other placements as well, your Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. I have the September playlist with this video. So again, if your energy was not picked up on in this reading, nothing went wrong. I just wasn't picking up on you for this specific collective. Some of the energy may also come in the reverse, so a third-party person might be your own energy, or vice versa. And don't pay too close attention to the zodiac or gender of the cards. It's just the clearest, most concise way the energy is being translated at this time. And of course, I do have links down below for those of you who are interested in personal readings or Reiki sessions. I'm going to start shuffling the deck now. Interesting. That was really fast. We already had 3 cards fall out for you. I was going to start for 3 cards. This is looking at August, or perhaps even further back. I have the Wheel of Fortune, Temperance, the Four of Swords, and the Spider card came out as your Animal Wisdom. So right away, a lot of messages are definitely trying to come through. I feel like with the Wheel of Fortune, in August there is some sort of big change in your day-to-day life. This could be at home or at work. I do feel like it was a bit bumpy, but it is going to a better direction. I feel like you are still in a healing cycle, very much. We have the Temperance card here, which is all about healing and harmony. I do feel like you are bringing 2 opposite sides of yourself into balance, or perhaps you're finding balance in a relationship with someone who's very different than you, especially if this person is a Sagittarius. We have 2 Sagittarius cards here. So we have the Wheel of Fortune and the Temperance card. Both of these are Sagittarian energy, so some of you are definitely dealing with a Sagittarius. And I feel like there's been some sort of change in your life, some sort of restructuring. Perhaps it's been brought on by this individual, or perhaps it's something this individual is dealing with. And overall, I feel like with this Four of Swords, you are healing, you are resting from whatever change has taken place. And it's almost like it's not your turn to act yet, or it hasn't been your turn to act yet. Especially with the Four of Swords, it's like all you could do was kind of conserve your energy because you knew something was coming. You knew this change was coming. Perhaps for some of you, this Wheel of Fortune hasn't actually taken place yet. You just became aware of it. And I do feel like you really needed to get the rest you could get while you had the chance. Because I do feel like there is a lot of energy that is coming in for you, for sure, and it probably has already started. And with this Spider card here, again, it's kind of just waiting, this waiting energy, this waiting, allowing things to come to you. It was kind of a time of wait and see. And you know, with Leo season being your second house, that was a lot about finances, stability. There was definitely some changes there. That was kind of a big focus for you. I feel like some of you, you're actually going to be coming into a nice deal of money if you haven't already. You know, you've made this web. You've been weaving a web, is kind of where you've been putting your efforts. And now that you've done that, you have created space for something or someone to come into your life. Especially if there's a Sagittarius person. This could also be referring to Sagittarius season. So this might be a bit a ways out, a few months from now, towards the end of November to the end of December. But I do feel like you are creating space for a lot of abundance and harmonious relationships. You really are getting serious here. But there's only so much you were able to do at this time. Some of you might have actually been waiting for a message or waiting for communication from somebody else. I'm curious to see what is happening for the first part of September now. What is being introduced into September. Do keep in mind that these time frames are very fluid in these general readings. It's just kind of a general sense of progression. So don't freak out if this doesn't happen for you right away, or if something's already happened for you. It's just the trajectory for the current collective I'm tapped into. Where is all of this headed? What is being introduced in September for Cancer? Show me clearly. I do feel like some of you are also dealing with a soulmate or maybe a twin flame. I am getting the sense of some sort of spiritual contract with the Wheel of Fortune, this destiny, whether that be with a person or even your own destiny. But with the Temperance card, I actually am getting this sense of romance. But it does take time. This isn't something that's going to happen right away. Even though there's a lot of shifts and a lot of changes, those need to take place in order for you to bring in what it is you really want. And it does require you to heal and to really look at yourself, to really look at your light and your shadow. What are the messages for Cancer coming into September? Someone's definitely holding back, or something is being withheld. You could be guarded, or it could be someone around you. I feel like communication is just kind of strained overall. I'm being told to shuffle 3 times. I did notice a Tower card at the bottom of the deck while I was shuffling. Some of you are definitely going through a really big change, and it, again, doesn't necessarily feel comfortable. But with that Tower energy, it's really important for you to keep in mind that this change is really taking place to clear space for something new. I feel like you've already been doing that. So we have the Three of Cups, the Nine of Wands, and the Ace of Swords. This was actually another card that kind of fell out while I was shuffling as well. So I definitely feel like whatever message you've been waiting for, there is some news or information that is coming in for September. It feels like something you've been kind of asking or anticipating with this Four of Swords. It's actually showing up as the extension to this energy. With the Temperance card, it is leading into the Nine of Wands. You're definitely feeling tired and worn down, perhaps by a relationship, or perhaps by the people closest to you, or maybe even something very near and dear to your heart. And you're almost there. This really is a message of perseverance. And also seeking out help from other people with this Three of Cups. This is showing up in your day-to-day. This is actually very, very available to you, whether you realize it or not. There are people around you who can help you. And I feel like it's very important for you to connect with these people. There is also this sense of celebration for some of you. Some of you might be celebrating some sort of windfall or some sort of promotion, advancement, or just a very positive life change. But I feel like you're feeling pretty worn down on the inside, whether people realize that or not. You know, even though you're on the cusp of something new, you do have a few more stairs to climb before you reach your goal. But I do see that it is very much in your sights. And it actually feels really good, but I do kind of feel this wave of exhaustion just sort of tuning into you guys. What is the animal wisdom for Cancer? Yeah, Phoenix. There's a new beginning on your wings here. There's a lot of transformation, rebirth. Maybe these are people coming back from the past, especially if this is a Sagittarius person. I do also feel like you are going through some big change in your day-to-day life. New job, new home, something like that. Maybe all of the above. This is the card that pertains to the root chakra. So it's very important that you are aware of this energy center for yourself for the first part of August, or September especially. Maybe in August as well, this was kind of an issue. But I do feel like it's very important for you to bring balance to this chakra. There are a lot of different ways that you can heal the root chakra. You can listen to certain tones that are available for free on YouTube. There are certain foods that you can eat. I do personally recommend root vegetables. I know some people recommend meat, but I don't think that it actually grounds your frequency. I feel like it just lowers your frequency. So eat grounding foods, things like potatoes, maybe onion, root vegetables, and also spending time outside. Being outside in the grass barefoot will really help ground your energy, and it also gives you what is known as an ionic exchange. Most of us don't get this because we're walking on concrete all day and we're wearing shoes, but it's actually a very important part of our nervous and immune health. We get these negative ions from the planet and we discharge our positive ions that build up stress. Positive ions are also emitted by our technology, so we're being bathed in that all of the time. So if you haven't spent any time outside, I would definitely do that, and also connect with other people. If you aren't able to walk barefoot, you can also just touch a tree or hold a tree. I would do this for about 15 minutes. Trees are also grounded, so they do have that negative ionic charge as well, and that will really be helpful, especially if you're feeling really depleted or really, really tired or worn down. Some of you, it's almost like feeling bruised, like you really feel beaten up, but it's more of an emotional thing. I'm not necessarily getting so much a physical, although it could be actually physical for some of you. I'm going to pull now for the remainder of September, the second half of September, where all of this energy is progressing. You might see this manifest towards the end of September. Could also be further out for you guys. You are definitely weighing your options here. You have a decision to make here with this Two of Swords. We also have the Seven of Cups. And we have the Nine of Cups. I do feel like there might be some sort of delays for some of you. And again, it's kind of that Saturn, Pluto energy that's happening in Capricorn in your 7th house. So it could very well be pertaining to a relationship. There could also be something that you're just not seeing clearly. Your emotions might be so high and strong that your perception of a situation just isn't accurate. And I feel like it's really important for you to be mindful of how you are feeling, staying aware of how you're feeling, because I feel like your emotions are really coloring your perception over some sort of situation. I almost wonder if something seems too good to be true, it might actually be the case. I hate to say with this Nine of Cups. But I feel like this is also a message of you focusing on what really brings you happiness, what brings you satisfaction. I feel like that is coming in for you, but there are some tests, there are some choices that you need to make that you might be afraid to do. I do feel like a lot of you have been having a hard time opening up. I usually just shuffle and wait for the cards to fall out, but I wasn't able to do that. There's definitely this sense of holding back. I feel like it's very important for you to lower your guard and to open up. Maybe ask other people for help, the people around you who are available to you. They might have insight or a different perspective on a certain situation that you just don't have. And I feel like by the end of this month, there's just this sense of not seeing something clearly. And sometimes the Nine of Cups, even though it can signify wish fulfillment, it can also signify kind of a con person. Someone who is offering this to you, I would be very skeptical of it, to be honest. I would give it more time. I would kind of wait for the emotions to settle, because if something feels really, really good, maybe this is a Virgo thing, I'm skeptical of that, because it's like there should always be this grain of salt, there should always be this, if you're really tuning into your own emotions, what you are going to realize is that we are all multiplicit beings. We have multiple different aspects of our personality, and there is some disparity between these things. So even something that we think we really truly want is coming in, there are parts of us that are going to be afraid of that as well. They're going to be nervous about it. And if you don't feel those aspects, it's kind of a good indication that it might not be the right time to move forward. I almost want you to aim for kind of being around 70% certainty with something, because if you feel like you're 100% sure, especially with all this energy, I feel like there's just something you're not seeing, or an aspect of something you are not seeing. Let's see. What is the animal wisdom for Cancer in the second half of September and beyond? Where's all of this energy going? Who is guiding Cancer? Panther. This was actually the card that just kind of stuttered. It wanted to come out. I do feel like for some of you, it's really important that you are working with your shadow. I think of shadow work when this card comes out, looking at your subconscious beliefs, the ways you are sabotaging yourself, the way you are keeping yourself disconnected from people, the ways you are holding back your true potential. Panther is actually a very loving and maternal force, although when it steps into our lives, it can kind of feel devastating. It can feel like a big loss. It's almost like the Death card or the Tower card. But this energy, this Panther energy, it really does care about you. It's really coming from a loving place. It has watched you from the shadows for some time. And even though it may feel sudden, if you're being honest with yourself, you're probably going to realize, yeah, there really were a lot of red flags that I was ignoring. And I feel like that's a big thing that's going to be happening for you at the end of the month. Do not ignore the red flags, especially relative to romantic partners. I hate to say it, but we are I'm seeing all of this stuff happening with the planets in Capricorn, with Saturn and Pluto, and we are moving into Libra season, so there is some squares that are happening there, and maybe some painful lessons, to be honest. And if you don't take the blindfold off, it could almost be worse. So there is kind of a warning here. And I apologize if this feels kind of heavy or if this doesn't feel good, but I don't want to be a tarot reader who's just giving you sugar-coated messages. I want to be real with you guys. I've never been the one to just give you these airy-fairy readings and not ground it in some realness. And I feel like you really need to be looking at your shadow. And if you do end up losing something, it's because you are using that thing to hold you back. And it's for the sake of your own happiness. There is a wish coming true, but there's a lot that you're still not seeing clearly. Those are all the messages I am getting for you right now, Cancer. I do hope that this reading was helpful. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below what is happening for you. Again, I do have links for personal readings and Reiki sessions in my description box. And I am wishing you all the best for the month of September. I'll see you all next time. Bye.